Okay, so today I'm going to read you a story, and I'm going to show you how when you're reading something, you should think about what you're reading, because we read to learn things, right? We don't just read to read the words, we read to learn. So I'm just going to read you a page out of this story about penguins, and we're just going to read about, this title says, what are they? So this is going to tell us what they are, okay? And so you're going to be, as I'm reading, you're just going to be thinking about what are you learning as I read this, okay? What birds cannot fly? What birds spend most of their lives in the ocean but are not fish? What birds live in the coldest parts of the world all year long? They swim, they march, they slide through the snow. They are penguins. So, as a reader, like if you were reading this story to yourself, once you're able to read all of these words and you're reading this story, you're going to be sitting in there and thinking, what am I learning? So what were some things that you learned from that page? Do you remember anything that you learned from that page about penguins? Yeah, what did you learn about this penguins from this page?
They can slide.
They can slide. Okay, so I'm going to reread, because sometimes when we're beginning to learn how to read, we have to read the words first before we're able to really understand what they're saying, right? So I'm going to show you what you could do if you didn't quite understand what you were reading. We do what we call rereading, and we had practiced that in another time too. So I'm going to reread it and be really listening. What are some things that you've learned about penguins in this? What birds cannot fly? What birds spend most of their lives in the ocean but are not fish? What birds live in the coldest parts of the world all year long? They swim, they march, they slide through the snow. They are penguins. Did you learn anything else when I reread it?
That they said
So like if I'm reading this, I'm thinking, okay, what did I just learn? So like sometimes you might have to pause on a page. Like we might just need to read one sentence and we stop and then we think about what we read. So I'm just going to go to this sentence right here and I'm going to read it, okay? What birds live in the coldest part of the world all year long? So what do we learn from that sentence? That they live where?
in the cold.
In the coldest parts of the world. So sometimes, if we're not really understanding what we're reading, we might just have to read sentence. Let's pause at that sentence. What did I learn then? And then we keep reading the next sentence. So let's read another sentence and see what we learned at this next sentence. They swim, they march, they slide through the snow. So what did we learn in that one?
That they
Do you want me to reread it to you so that
Yes.
you can think about it again? They swim, they march, they slide through the snow. So what did we learn about them?
They can slide.
They can slide. All right, so I want you to read. We're just going to read this first sentence, and we're just going to practice using that strategy that I just taught you. So would you read this to me?
Josh and Jen like to swim. They take Gran to their swim meet.
So what did you learn from that sentence? What was happening?
They like to swim.
They like to swim, and I like how you look back in the text to figure out what was going on. And do you remember who they took to the swim meet?
Gran.
They took Gran to the swim meet. So in that first sentence, that's what we've learned so far. That they like to swim and that they took Gran to the swim meet. Now, this is something that you can use as you're reading these stories that you are reading in class. You could read one sentence and think, what did I just learn in that sentence? Because you want to be able to read a story and understand it, right? Not just to read the words, but to be able to understand it. So you can use this strategy when you're reading. All right? Awesome.